Jerome Powell has just given his testimony for February 2025 towards the US economy. The testimony might determine the movement of the financial market in the next couple of weeks, especially for the crypto market. If you haven't gotten the time to read or watch the full testimony, let me summarize it for you. Hey guys, welcome back to Republic Labs YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about Jerome Powell's testimony and how it can determine the movement of the crypto market, especially talking about the US economic conditions and inflation data and how it could impact the volatility of crypto. So as you might probably know, Jerome Powell has just given his testimony on February 11th, 2025. As you can see here, the testimony was given according to the schedule. However, this won't be the only testimony he will be giving this week, as Jerome Powell is scheduled to have two testimonies on the February 11th and February 12th. However, the important thing to note is that on the February 11th, the testimony is more important because he stated a couple of things that might change the overall perspective on the financial market and the US economy. As you can see here, the Federal Reserve Twitter account has just updated the testimony. One of the key statements that Jerome Powell stated is that, and I quote, "Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people." This indicates that the US monetary policy, especially the interest rate decision, will highly depend on the employment data and also the price data, specifically inflation data. If you want to take a look for yourself, the testimony is titled Semi-Annual Monetary Policy Report to the Congress. This is because Jerome Powell stated his testimony towards the Congress, meaning he explained his perspective on the US economy and the overall monetary policy that will be implemented. As you can see here, there are a couple notable data as it might be an indication of the overall financial market movement. The first data he stated was the economic data of the United States. Overall, Jerome Powell stated that the economy is getting better. One of the highlighted data is that the gross domestic product data, which rose around 2.5% in 2024. The GDP, or the gross domestic product, is the overall indicator of the economy, which means if the GDP rises, then the overall economy condition should be getting better. Another data that he highlighted is that payroll job gains average 189,000 per month over the past 4 months. This means that the employment condition of the United States is getting better, as payrolls are increasing, indicating that they are hiring more or increasing the wages of these employees. Also, Jerome Powell stated that the unemployment rate has been steady since the middle of last year and at 4% in January, which means that the overall unemployment rate remains low. However, from an inflation perspective, things might not be getting better, as Jerome Powell stated that the total personal consumption expenditures, or the PCE prices, has rose around 2.6% over the 12-month period ending in December 2024. Since the PCE data represents the US inflation from a consumer's perspective, this means that consumers are still paying high prices for their goods and services needed for their life. Overall, the PCE and the core PCE data have both risen in the last period. This can cause worries, as high inflation means that the economy might not be getting better. However, Jerome Powell still stated that the inflation target for the United States still remains at 2%. This means that to achieve the target, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve might change a couple of things, especially in the monetary policy. Moving on to the next section of his testimony, he talked about the monetary policy. As you might remember before, the intro of his statement is that our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. This means that employment and inflation plays a huge role, which is why both of those data were highlighted in his earlier statement. Overall, the statement indicates that Jerome Powell is not in a hurry to lower interest rate. However, there is a statement that can be highlighted to determine whether the US interest rate will go down or not. The statement is that if the labor market were to weaken unexpectedly or inflation were to fall more quickly than anticipated, we can ease policy accordingly. This means that the US interest rate can only go down if the US employment data gets better or if the inflation were to be lowered. Also, Jerome Powell stated that we are attentive to the risks to both sides of our dual mandate, and policy is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties that we face. In this statement, uncertainties translates to the economic uncertainty that is currently happening in the United States, one of the factors being Donald Trump's new tariff policy. Overall, if you're interested towards the full testimony, you can access it here, or just go to the tweet and click this link. Now, after the testimony, on February 12th, the United States also published a couple of data. The most important ones are core inflation data and inflation data. Also, Jerome Powell has given his testimony again, but this time only talking about inflation and core inflation. The core inflation and the inflation data is important to determine the interest rate of the United States, as the United States uses core inflation data to determine its interest rate. As you can see here, historically, when the core inflation goes up, the interest rate usually goes down. However, if inflation rate goes up, the interest rate might not go down, meaning they determine the interest rate based on core inflation. Currently, the core inflation has been stagnating, but also heading towards a lower position. This means that there are no bases yet for the interest rate to go down, which is why the crypto market and the overall financial market has been volatile. Aside from the data and the testimony, the interest rate can determine the movement of the overall financial market, especially the crypto market. This is because the interest rate determines the value of the US dollar. And the US dollar has a negative correlation with Bitcoin, meaning when interest rate goes up, usually the United States dollars goes up as well. This means that in that condition, Bitcoin usually tends to go down. However, when interest rate goes down, the United States dollar usually goes down as well, meaning in this condition, Bitcoin usually goes up. This is why the overall crypto market is waiting for a rate cut, meaning they're waiting for the US Federal Reserve to lower their interest rate. As you can see here, from August 2024 until now, Bitcoin has went up significantly. As you can see here, the price gain has reached more than 50% until the current price, meaning when interest rate goes down, Bitcoin tends to go up. So, since core inflation is stagnating, then the interest rate might stagnate as well. And if interest rate is stagnating, this means that Bitcoin and the crypto market might stagnate or be stuck in a consolidation for a couple of days, or weeks, or even months. The price movement from a macroeconomic perspective will only receive bullish sentiment if interest rate goes down. So now, the right thing to do is just wait for the interest rate to go down. However, that might not be anytime soon. People are predicting that the interest rate might go down on March 2025. However, some are predicting that interest rate might go down around July or June 2025. So, the right thing to do is just manage your risk and be careful with the market, as volatility might continue until macroeconomic factors settles. Aside from the interest rate, one of the things you should watch out is Donald Trump's tariff policy, which might cause volatility in the overall global financial market. Well, that's it. That's all the information I have today. And if you guys like contents like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you guys are notified when we next upload. Cheers, guys!